Welcome to another episode of the Way of BJJ podcast. As always, due to strong language, inappropriate analogies, please do not listen to this around your kids. Now let's get to the podcast.
Damn, what's going on?
Dude, I haven't seen police in the past 2 years we've been here.
And now
Now they're they're all over the place.
Now that I'm here, they're like, they must have heard that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this guy's recording. Let's go.
Nice, yeah. So this is the Way of BJJ podcast.
Yeah, bringing heat.
Yeah. So just making sure that you understand what you got yourself into, Meego.
Yeah.
So where I don't edit, you know, and it's unfiltered.
Perfect.
It's just conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I keep everything in there.
Yeah, and I might swear too.
Yeah, dude, that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, every time you swear, our viewership just goes up.
Yeah, because of yeah. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah, so this is Minju. I'm here with a friend and a Jiu-Jitsu black belt and owner of the Hero Academy here in North Vancouver with Meego. All right, so I'm actually really excited to be here to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
because
for having me.
I was just listening to I was doing some homework.
Yeah.
So I was listening to one of the podcasts you did maybe earlier in the year, you know, the one where you were talking about Steven Seagal and all
Oh
that.
yeah.
That one.
Okay, everybody heard that.
I know. So it's yeah. So and I know that you are you have a very eclectic martial arts background, right? Yeah. So I think I would like to just start by asking you questions about how you got started in martial arts and jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So where did it all get started?
So I'm originally from Iraq. I was born in Baghdad. I started martial arts when I was 8. I remember my brother was doing taekwondo, and I really wanted to do it, and I would go watch and stuff, and then they said, no, you can't do it. You have to be 8. And I'm like, no, but I want to do it. Like, go back home and crying every day, and like, I really want to do it, but the rules back then, like, they want to deal with you basically until you can listen to the rules, right? So yeah, on my 8th birthday, I woke up and I'm like super pumped. It's my 8th birthday, and my dad was like, "Oh, we got you a bike." I'm like, "I don't want a bike. I want to go do taekwondo." So I started doing taekwondo, and then yeah, just never stopped up until my 20s. Yeah, but I did a bunch of martial arts. I always loved martial arts. I always loved sports. I didn't like team sports for some, like, it's just I was a sore loser. So if I lose because it's someone else, I just didn't like to be associated with that. When I was a kid, right? Now
You guys lost.
yeah, exactly. It's like, you didn't work, right? Like, I'm working really hard, and then, you know what I mean? So I just couldn't get into team sports. I played in school, in high school. I played because I was athletic, so I always played like basketball. I played soccer, but I never got into it too much. So I focused on martial arts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I mean, that kind of gave me a little bit of a question I want to ask you. You know, yeah, because pardon my ignorance.
No.
But is there like a traditional martial art in Iraq? You know, because because I'm of Chinese, descent, right? So we have like kung fu or whatever, right? Then Japan has like karate, and taekwondo is like associated with Korea and stuff, right? So is there like a traditional martial art?
So I mean, we don't have our own traditional martial art, but it's but all the traditional martial arts, the Asian martial arts, I would call it, they're all big, and especially I'm talking back in the 80s.
Right.
Taekwondo, karate, and kung fu, they're really big. Kung fu came a little later,
right?
Which is something I dabbled with too.
Yeah.
But Taekwondo and karate, especially Kyokushin, they were really big back home.
But that's pretty interesting, eh? That's pretty interesting. Why is that? Because
I have no idea.
Yeah, because there's conflict, right? I mean, that's human history is full of conflicts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine there's some type of hand-to-hand combat must have evolved.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
some
I
point,
think
you know?
traditionally is maybe wrestling,
Okay,
is like
okay.
just like all that side of the world, like
I see.
we just love to wrestle, but it wasn't, I don't know why, it wasn't like really big back then. But again, yeah, like all the traditional martial arts were the thing to do, like karate, everybody did karate, just like here, same thing here, right?
Okay, yeah.
Taekwondo was big. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If anyone is like a martial art historian, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Enlighten us. Yeah, that's
Yeah, like
yeah. I was
it's
just thinking about that. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Eh?
yeah, it's interesting. Like I do know history, and we don't really have. I think we're more sword fighters. So
Okay, gotcha. That's a martial art.
yeah, it is. I mean, historical. One of my passions is Gilgamesh, and he's got. If you read the story, I'm not going to explain it much, but in one of the scenes of the story that he wrestles one of his, that's how he met his best friend. So he wrestles, and then so there is wrestling probably in the back, like, but I'm talking. This is one of the first stories was written in history. So there was a wrestling scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
They
probably
use swords.
because we don't train to fight, we train to kill, right? Because back then it wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know,
probably.
maybe.
Probably,
It's a lot
yeah.
more serious.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, and that region, like the Middle East in general, it was so many things happened to it throughout history.
Right.
From the beginning of time, like it's just like there's so many, like wars and raids until today.
Yeah.
And so like it kind of like keep morphed, right? Like it was like morphing throughout history to find its own kind of like thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's always like adapted from other cultures, I guess.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's continue the story then. What was it like growing up in
In Iraq?
Yeah, because I mean, again, I listened to bits and pieces. I mean,
Yeah.
I listened to the entire podcast actually, right?
Yeah.
So so I know that there were conflict and war going on when you were there and stuff, right? So that must have been like
Yeah, I mean, I
the
left in
experience, right?
'92. I was just turned 15, and we left for political reasons, family involvement with politics, and so we left the country. It was interesting to say the least. It puts things in perspective when you compare, like living in a war zone, because like I lived most of my life, there was war, right? And then we had a break for a year and a half, and then we had another war.
Damn.
Yeah, so like literally like my whole life.
Yeah.
Well, my whole life living there.
So what was your
it was-
earliest memory of some type of war going on?
Well, I was born in '77, and the first war with Iran started in 1981, I think, or '82.
Oh, so
So
you were like 4.
that's my first, like, right? Like that's when you start actually remembering stuff.
Right.
So my first memory is in Baghdad. I was in my grandfather's house, and there was a raid. There was like they used to come and bomb, like Iranian airplanes come and bomb Baghdad. And I remember, I don't know how much but this is a memory, but I don't know how much is true or how much is this in my imagination. I remember that the airplanes were so close. We were on the roof of my grandfather's house, and it's just 2-story house. And it was so close that this is not true. Definitely a memory, but I remember it was like they were really low because they fly low. And I could see the pilot, but it's not. But this is what's in my memory. And I remember that my brother, who's 8 years older than me, he said, duck down, and everybody ducks down. That's my first memory of war. Yeah, and after that, it's just a bunch of memories
Damn.
not a lot of fun memories.
Oh
but
yeah, definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely
but
not.
I mean, you know what? It shaped a whole like bunch of generations because it was 9 years long war, right? And it shaped me, shaped who I am, right? Like living in that. Is war good? I mean, no, of course it's not.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants that. But this is how I grew up.
Yeah. Man, that sucks. That sucks. Yeah, because it's like, I mean, not trying to get like political or anything like that at all, right? But just having a discussion, right? What's in hindsight, did that war solve anything?
Nope.
Yeah, right.
It was not getting political, but war will. I don't think war will
I guess
ever.
we are.
Yeah, I don't think war will ever solve anything. Like even now to this recent, what's happening in Palestine, Israel, it's not the answer, right? Like war was never the answer because there's always going to be there's always going to be innocent people being killed,
Yeah.
right? Like, so
It's
I don't think it's ever going to be the answer. So
it's a tool.
it is a tool,
It's a
and
tool
sadly,
for-
it's business.
Yeah, it's a tool for the people in power to
Yeah, exactly.
remain in
It's
power.
business. Yeah.
Oh boy, where's jiu-jitsu?
Where's jiu-jitsu with that?
Right? It's called way of BJJ, you know. But the reason why that experience, you growing up there, resonated with me. I guess we'll bring it back to jiu-jitsu pretty
Yeah.
soon. But it's because I'm from Taiwan, right? So where we didn't get it nearly as bad as you guys, right? But we were constantly under the threat of
Yeah.
Chinese
Yeah,
invasion
no,
and
it's
stuff.
pretty
right?
bad. Yeah.
So I remember when I was growing up, right? We never actually had like conflict or war, right? And I mean on our home soil.
Yeah.
Right. But then you would you would constantly be trained like how to spot a spy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
espionage, that kind of stuff, right? Then we have like drills like, hey, if we get bombed, you know,
Yeah.
if we
No,
get air raided, you
lived
know,
through all that, yeah,
kind of stuff,
yeah.
right? So it is a constant threat, right?
But it is right, like, but keeps you on your guard, right? Like, it is always until today. It's like, again, I left when I was 15, and I'm 46 now. Until today, I'm so aware of my surroundings. I just, like, when I see something like weird happening around me, I'm like, what is that guy doing? You know, like, it's what's happening. I'm so aware of my surroundings just because that's how I grew up.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
to be aware of everything happening around me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, it's good. There's good things in
Of
bad,
course,
bad
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm like I'm anxious
You're not-
or
you're not-
paranoid,
you're
but
not
like I'm just
paranoid,
aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's, I think
Better to
martial
be-
arts helped
Yeah.
with that, right? Like, martial arts helped me with that, being that aware in a good way, and instead of being, you know, like, instead of being, I don't put my guard down easily, right? Like, so instead of being anxious and I'm like scared, or I mean, like, no, I'm just, you know, I know what's happening, right? Like, when we go out with my friends and whatever, like clubbing and whatever, like back when I used to, I'm the guy who's like, okay, I'll have one drink because I need to be, you know, like, I need to know what my friends are doing because they're drinking, right? Like, so I was always that guy. I was like, you know, some of them call me dad.
You're just silent protector.
Yeah, I'm the dad, right? Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, so I think it's a mix of both. It's a mix of the environment we lived, which is very similar with what were you explaining, and it's martial arts too, right? Like, it just makes you like aware of what's happening around you.
Yeah. So do you feel like that experience growing up has something to do with you, you know, picking martial art as your career
Oh,
path?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's because I went through, I want to say, like, it's gonna sound a little bit too much if I say dark, but like kind of dark times during. I left when I was a teenager, and then we left the country, and with, like, in my high school, three years of high school, I changed schools 4 times, so I was like in a different country and everything. So I was not going through, like, it was kind of rough for me, right? So I used martial arts as a way to pick up fights instead of grounding me,
Okay.
right?
So 15, right? Left the country at 15.
Yeah.
Then moved to to Canada right away.
No. We moved to Jordan.
Jordan?
Yeah, we moved to Jordan, and then.
So is it a completely different language, completely different?
No, it's the
culture,
same language, different accent.
All right.
Yeah, it's like you're moving from.
So people would still
Kind
think
of.
you're weird because your accent.
Yeah. Oh, and I had that. So this is one of, actually, I was talking about it with my sister the other day. Because people will be like, I'm speaking Arabic, but it's a different accent. So, like, an Australian guy coming here is like, dude, I don't understand you, just speak English. So people used to say that to me. It's like, hey, why don't you speak Arabic? I'm like, I am speaking Arabic, but it's my accent, right? So because people were saying that constantly, it taught us to, or me at least, to, like, even try to be part of my surroundings so much that I kind of, like, dropped my Iraqi accent and started, like, speaking in Jordanian accent, right? Just so I can be part of the because I didn't want people to, and actually that was hard for me when I came here 15 years ago. People would be like, "Oh, where's your?" I really, like, I still do have an accent, but I had really heavy accent. Okay, as I told, I didn't hear it. Obviously, it's yours. You don't hear it. So people would tell me like, "Oh, where's your accent from?" And I really hated it. I'm like, this brings back memories, kind of like almost like a PTSD. But anyway, so back to martial arts.
Yeah.
So I use martial arts as a tool to make myself, I think, feel better, or like take my anger, rage, or for whatever reason that we had to leave my home country, right? So I was like just picking up fights every day, like literally sometimes every day in school. And my parents weren't happy with it. So they kept switching schools, like, oh, maybe it's the school. So then actually made it worse, right?
But at least you were winning, right?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I was because martial arts was not like that like popular. So like you'll in my school there's like we know who does martial arts, right? Like it's like, oh, you do that? Yeah, we're taekwondo
Nice.
friends, kind of thing, right? Like so there's like 3 people.
Yeah,
does
but were
taekwondo.
you, let's say when you moved to Jordan, or initially, were you able to find a different community through martial arts at all, or?
Yeah, I did. It was hard in the beginning, but I did. I did. It took me a while, but I did. Then I started. Um, there's a lot of details I can't go through, but yeah, I started training there. I went back to training and I started doing it again, and I adopted other martial arts as well, and I continued every martial arts I was doing. So that was good. But then it came back, and actually that's when I discovered Kung Fu. I found that at the time Kung Fu was a little bit more grounding. Because Taekwondo and Kyokushin, both of them, I was doing them at the time, and it's all more about like just go for it, right? Like Taekwondo back then, it wasn't the Taekwondo like we see at the Olympics now.
Yeah,
that was before the Olympics.
The point fighting.
Yeah,
Taekwondo,
it was more like go for the knockout kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah, it's like really vicious, right?
Yeah.
And so as Kyokushin is really vicious. Like it's the most vicious, I think, traditional martial arts,
Yeah,
full
yeah.
contact martial arts,
Yeah.
right? Other than like just
So how does it
other
make
Muay
you
Thai.
feel? In the last Olympics, the guy who won gold medal was the guy who got knocked out, because the silver medalist
That was I was
apparently
watching it.
apparently he got disqualified for kicking too hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because the guy bled.
Huh.
He I think he punched him in the nose and he bled or kicked him. I don't remember, but yeah,
Okay.
it was horrible. That's horrible. But that's point karate, right? I mean, I understand the reason, but this is not what I did, right? So I don't. Yeah, I understand the reasoning on their side,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah,
like
it's
they
no
just want to make it a
longer-
sport. They don't want to
it's
make
no
it a
longer
fight.
martial art, right?
It's no longer martial arts. No, like so, might as well just
Call it
do
martial
Tai
sport
Chi.
or something. You know?
Do Tai Chi, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Kung Fu grounded me a little bit, and I went through a phase that I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm not gonna pick up fights. I'm just gonna focus on my studying. And it's not that I was always good at school, but like I'm just gonna focus on this, and it really grounded me. It almost like took me out of that teenage anger, and I was growing older too, right? So, but that's when the switch happened, right? Like I met my old Sifu, and he, it was just like a lot of meditation. I think it just like I think it. I would say it took me by surprise by then. I was like, what is this in the beginning, right? But then I'm like, oh, wait a second, I'm just really giving into it, right? So yeah, it pulled me back, and it just like I said, it grounded me, and it's gonna sound cheesy, but obviously it changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So when did you move to Canada then?
I moved to Canada April 8th, 2009.
Oh, it must have been a very
Not April, sorry, May 8th.
all right.
Yeah, I moved from Dubai, and I came here as a refugee for political reasons. We don't need to discuss. I was. It was a surprise. I came here and I wasn't expecting. I came here for a visit, and then I had to stay because I couldn't go back anywhere other than Iraq, and we can't go back to Iraq. So I stayed here, and I learned to call this home, and just and I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm here. Yeah, and then started like at the time I was kind of like searching for my soul, let's say. So I wasn't really doing martial arts. I was like more like lifting and just like the normal, you know. Still active, going to the gym, but I was more like focusing on lifting. And I had an opportunity to work at a gym, one of the franchise gyms, and they wanted a martial artist to teach kickboxing and I had Muay Thai background. And then that turned into being a personal trainer. And then, then I was like, okay, I think I don't want to do an office job anymore. I used to work as a senior marketing director in Dubai. Totally different than what I'm doing now. For an investment firm. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want to do an office job anymore. I want to do this. And it's just rewarding, and it's back to something that I like, which is fitness and health. And then I met one of my really good friends, Blair, at the gym. He was one of the trainers. And I remember we were watching UFC one day, and he's like, Meego, how's your ground game? I'm like, non-existent. Yeah, non-existent. He's like, because we always talk about striking. He was always asking me about kicks and whatever at the gym. And he was a blue belt at the time. From
because I think
Montreal
you
BTT.
started training jiu-jitsu at around 2008, right?
Blair?
No, you.
I did. Yeah, no, 2000. No. I started training jiu-jitsu here in Canada. Yeah. So I started training jiu-jitsu 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Blair was a blue belt already. So he was like, why don't you try jiu-jitsu? Come and try jiu-jitsu. And that was infighting.
With Richie, right?
With Richie, yeah. And then beforehand, I went to another school. We don't have to say the name, but I went to that school to just try jiu-jitsu. And they had a 3-day free trial. And I went there, and the instruction level was not as what I expected or what I was looking for. There's a bunch of beginners, and the instructor at the time was a brown belt, which is like rare to see, right? Like back in 2010. That was 2009 actually. That was before the Olympics, and he was just like eating an apple, playing solitaire, literally, on his desk, and he's like, "Yeah, this is how you do rear naked choke."
So he wasn't even.
He wasn't even on the mat. He comes like, "Here, just put your hand here like this, just squeeze, okay?" And he goes away, and I'm like, "Okay." So I'm tapping with this
You
kid.
should definitely name the gym, you know?
No, I'm not gonna.
Like, dude.
They changed names anyway,
Okay, that deserved to get called out, man.
Yeah, no, they changed
So bad.
names, and it's gone. It's gone. And then, So I was tapping. The guy was putting a choke on me, but it was more for a turkey choke, more like a wind choke. It was supposed to be a rear naked choke.
Right.
So I was tapping because they're crushing my neck, my neck, and I was like tapping. He's like, "Why are you tapping?" I'm like, "Dude, because I can't talk anymore." He's like, "No, but you shouldn't tap from pain." I'm like, "But that hurts, dude." Like and he was a beginner too,
Right.
but younger, that done maybe 3 classes more than me, right? Anyway, for 2 weeks after that, I couldn't talk. Everything was inflamed. My trachea was inflamed, and it was horrible. So I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And even in there, like I found it. I've done so many martial arts, so I know how to kind of like maneuver around other martial arts and respect that martial art, not to come in with expectations like, oh, hey, I'm a Taekwondo black belt, so you need to respect me. No, I come in as a white belt, right? So I remember there's like, oh, you should put your Taekwondo black belt and you go stand with the black belts. I'm like, no, I don't know anything about this martial arts. I'm not gonna put my Taekwondo black belt, right? So anyway, so it kind of like threw me off. So but then when Blair asked me to come and try and fight it, and Richie Yip at the time had a month trial, month free. So I went, and they were training at he was renting basketball court at Pantheon. And Pantheon now is a studio. So I went there, and I was like, oh, this is weird spot. So go there, and it's a basketball court, but it's like nice and open, right? Rich is super nice as he is, and he's like welcoming, and I did the class. And there is, the name escapes me, there is this white belt guy who's done, I don't know, maybe 2 years on off jiu-jitsu. Vietnamese guy, I think Alan. I forgot his name. He disappeared after a while, but like, he was a lot smaller than me, and at the time, I was about 195. I was a lot bigger. I was about 195, like closer to that, right? So I was a big guy,
Yeah.
right? In comparison to now, like
Yeah, you must have been
I'm
jacked.
168. Yeah, I was big. So he was just throwing me around and like just like it was ground, right? Like, but it's like just like sweeping me and going. I was like, what the hell? And I thought I can, like I have martial arts background. Like I'm strong, right? Like I can bench 3 plates. Right? I was like, it did not matter, right? Like it doesn't matter. It's like and then after the class, I'm like, whoa! I went to Richie. I'm like, sign me up. He's like, you don't want to finish
The trial
the
period. or
trial
whatever,
period.
right?
I'm like, nope, sign me up. And at the time I borrowed Blair's gi, and it was Adidas gi. And Richie was like, okay. I was like, I want to buy a gi. And he said, fine, okay. What's your budget? I'm like, get me the best gi. I didn't know anything about that, right? So he got me my tatami Atama gi. I paid at the time like $220 or something, like really expensive at the time, right? And and that was it. And I kept training with Richie until I got my black belt
Nice.
from Richie. Yeah, and
Stuff.
the best. It was the best environment that I could find, and or I could ask for. Like
Yeah.
it was great. Everybody's friendly. It was nobody there to prove anything, and then the more I got involved in jiu-jitsu, the more you see like this is the majority of the culture in
Right.
schools, right? Like everybody, of course, there's the meathead schools here and there, but in general, like people are friendly. People want to go there and learn,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, because I think this is a very important point, right? Because you could have just been like, man, that the first experience sucks so much that I'm never going back to jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
right? Like you could have easily been like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also wondering how many people, that happened to.
Yeah, exactly.
Never went back to jiu-jitsu, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I bet you a lot of people. I bet you a lot of people.
Yeah. So now that you have your own hero academy, right? So do you think about that? I mean, how do you make sure that somebody who walks in and do a class with you for the very first time, doesn't have that experience and,
Yeah.
and actually stick with jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, like I do. Like I think of that first experience all the time, and I think as not only that, I see sometimes people coming in and super nervous. I've had a few people in and out, and like I can see them, like they change and they go out for a walk, and like literally this has happened. They go for a walk and they on their phone, and they come back and sit down on the couch, and they go back again and they walk, and then I would go like sit with them and I'd be like, are you okay, man? Like, and there's this one person, he's like, oh man, I'm really nervous. I'm like, that's fine. Everybody's nervous when they walk into a martial arts school because you don't know what to expect.
Right.
I'm like, if you're nervous on stepping on the mat, you can just sit on the side and watch. And that's all you need to do. And I promise you, nothing will happen to you. I'll take care of you once you decide to be part of the class. And it works 99% of the time.
Yeah.
People will be like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down and watch, right? And then after that, I'd be like, they see everybody's. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
They see like everybody's comfortable and friendly, and they're like, there's not that, like I'm just gonna the first guy coming in, I'm just gonna tap them out or whatever, right? Like so they see that like friendliness, and I do teach a lot. I don't believe in just drilling. I have a system that I teach. So, and obviously we have fundamentals and beginners. So, fundamentals and advanced. So, I do try my best to create that. Again, like this is so used, but like that safe environment, right? But really, we really do with everything, with our boxing classes, with our Muay Thai classes, with our Jiu-Jitsu classes, we try to get that that nervousness of like you just walk by the door, just come in and try a class or come and watch, right? And then you'll see the community, you'll see everybody here, and you'll know that this is a safe environment. Yeah. So for sure, that first day, my first experience, and I've had a lot of bad experiences doing different martial arts. First day bad experiences. So I always reflect on that. Yeah, always reflect on that. Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. So for let's say if a beginner, let's say somebody who's never done jiu-jitsu, right? And then they are looking to do jiu-jitsu for the first time, right? What are some, based on your experience, right, doing different martial arts, and as you said, lots of bad first day experience.
Yeah.
Right? What are like some of the major red flags that people should be aware of?
Oh, like if they go.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's
first
say
of all, I would
if they go to a place, if they see red flag number 1, number 2, then they should probably be getting the fuck out of there, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think.
what are some of the major ones?
Yeah, I think first thing is instruction level. If you see the instructor is not interested and is walking around, if you're watching this class, right? If you see the instructor is not interested or just like focusing on a group people and leaving the others, or just like not really giving, especially in the beginning, like when you walk in, there's so much happening in jiu-jitsu. It happened to me, was different before, but if you walk into first class, right, and it's a fundamental class, right, and you see the instructor teaching a triangle or omoplata, you should be like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Or leg locks, right? Because you need to separate between fundamentals and advanced, right? Like if you want to teach all these complicated techniques, leave it for the advanced, right? And fundamentals, you should be comfortable first having someone between your legs, right? Like you're literally, there's no personal space, right? So you have to be comfortable someone putting you in side control and they're breathing on your neck, right? Like we don't think about it that way because we're so used to it, right? But someone first day they coming in and like they see that, and like, oh,
It is a very
I don't know if I
intimate
wanna do that.
experience, right?
Yeah. And for a lot of guys it's hard, but imagine women, right? Like, and then they walk in and there's like, okay, there's like 7 guys on the mat and there's no women. So who am I gonna partner with, right? So they have to look instructor. I put it on instructors, right? They have to really, I would say, pamper that first day person walking in, right?
Right.
You have to make it welcome, make it, like be friendly. Tough love sadly doesn't work anymore. It probably used to be back in the day, but doesn't work anymore. You need to be, you need to give good customer service. So the points if I was to go first class, I mean, it's gonna be hard for me to reflect now because I know, right? But it's like I would go there and I look at the instructor, how welcoming is he, right? Is he interested in teaching someone new? Because lots of instructors don't want to teach fundamentals. They just want to do fancy stuff, right? So is the instructor willing to deal with someone that just walked into class, right? How is it training partners? Like what's the level of instruction, right? The other thing is cleanness. I mean, that's really important. Is the gym clean?
Yeah.
Right? And it's easy. Like sometimes you don't see it, but you can smell it, right? So, and especially like we're very close. There's no personal space. So like you need to watch these things, right? Yeah. And you can do your research before, right? Like you do a research. People are not shy of leaving bad reviews or good reviews, right? People do, right? Like we don't ask anybody to leave reviews. I mean, we do every now and then, but people, if they like a space
Or they hate it.
if they like a space, they go leave review.
Right.
And if they hate it, they'll definitely leave review.
Right.
Right? Like most people that hate place, I would say 90% of people that hated an experience, they'll make sure to go leave a review, right? And I'm not gonna go read the bad reviews, but use your own judgment, right? Like read the review and be like, if it sounds like a little bit too much, like, oh, they didn't give me free water or something like that, right? Like, right? Like, or the instructor
Look at me the wrong way or something.
Yeah, or he had an accent. It's like, hey, like,
what does that mean?
Yeah, like he had a heavy accent. Like, it's like
What?
yeah, maybe he's not first language, right? Like,
Yeah, that means it's
something like that. I've
means
seen
it's authentic Portuguese.
exactly. Yeah.
Brazilian instructor.
Yeah. Or sometimes the instructor is not Brazilian.
Oh,
we've
right.
we've heard that, right? It's like, oh, Because I had someone walk in and it's like, he's like, started speaking in Portuguese to me. I was like, oh, sorry, I don't speak Portuguese. He's like, oh, you're not Brazilian? You're teaching jiu-jitsu? I'm like, sorry, I apologize, but I'm a black belt. And the guy was never done jiu-jitsu before.
Right,
Right?
right.
But he's just expecting, and he's like, he just wasn't impressed. I'm like, sure, it's fine. Like I don't have to be Brazilian to teach Portuguese,
Yeah.
right? Like it's So yeah, I mean these things you just need to look at and use your own judgment. Just walk in there if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, just leave. Nobody's gonna be like, you're not allowed to leave. Just leave.
Yeah, so I guess it really comes down to, does the owner or the instructor, does he actually give a fuck, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's big. That's big. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think all the stuff you said, if they really care about their product, then all that kind of stuff is gonna be good, right?
Exactly.
Right. So instruction is gonna be good. It's gonna be clean, right?
Exactly.
They're gonna have good customer service, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that I did hear you say just now is that tough love doesn't work anymore, right? So why do you think that is? What changed?
I don't know. It doesn't work with me.
Did it? Was that the way you were brought up with all the?
Yeah, I was brought up with tough love.
Okay.
Generation too. Generation and culture, I guess. But it doesn't work with me anymore. I'm more. I mean, probably personal too. Like maybe works with some people, but I think motivation works better for me, and goal setting. That's how I work. Tough love doesn't work. Like I shut down if there's tough love. I just don't like it. But again, maybe that's personal. But I just reflect it on everybody. If I don't like tough love, I'm not gonna use it with someone else. Right? Yeah.
So what do you find to be the best way to motivate your students so they keep on pursuing this journey?
You know, the way I see it, and actually, it's the way I treat them, right? I don't come to the mat and I like expect everybody to bow to me and whatever, all that, right? Like I know I came from a traditional martial arts. I still bow to the mat. For the longest time, every time I walk into, even when I was fighting, walk into the gym, I bow at the door and then go bow to the mat. I was just, like that was part of my everyday, right? Like that's what I did for the, like my whole 30 some life of, right? Like martial arts. Yeah. But I don't expect, I mean, of course I do expect respect, but I earn it. I earn it with love. I'm part of the team. I want my, the other day, one of my white belts, he's been training with me for, I don't know, closer to a year now. And he sent me a meme. He's like, and he's like, that's you. And it's, and I actually didn't know that people noticed it. But I always want everybody on the mat or all my students to be better than me, right? When he sent me that, I knew that I was doing something right. It's just the energy that I reflect, right? I don't come here to try to beat all my students. There's no point. There's no point, right? Like it's, if I want to prove to them that something that it works, then I'll do it, right? Like if I'm teaching something in class and someone is like, yeah, but that doesn't work in rolling. When we roll, I'll try to do it, but I don't humiliate them, right?
Right.
I just show them that technique works, right? Like there's something why like, but at the same time, it's just to prove the point. But again, it's not, I'm humiliating them and I'm like, haha, you see, it works. Like I just like class material, see? Like he's like, they'll be like, oh yeah, this is class material. So I try my best to be, again, part of the team, one of the guys, right? Like it's not, I'm not like this higher power that everybody has to bow to me, and like a white belt cannot be like, come to me as like, can I roll with you? Or like people call me professor, right? Like I don't even use that, right? It's we're very like first name based, and actually like we have a tradition, well, like I do, when everybody's on the mat before I start class, I go myself and give everybody high five and fist bump, right? And I go around to them. I'm not expecting like I'm standing there and everybody comes to me like shake my hand, like it's just right. So it's just like if you, so when you reflect that, your student will start, like understanding the cultures, right? Like, so
Right.
they started doing it themselves, right? They start, so, and that goes back to the first person coming in. If the instructor is doing that, when someone comes in, the students will show them, like because they're coming from a experience, even if they're white belts, they're coming from a little bit experience, so but they know the culture. So when someone walks in first day, they'll reflect that. They'll go shake his hand, their hand, and like like welcome them. And seriously, it just happens organically.
Right.
Like I never told someone like, oh, go shake that guy's hand. Like they just go, they just do it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the class, everybody walks around, and we don't do the lineup and whatever. Like just everybody walks around and like give like just random. It's like, hey, nice training with you. Hey, nice training with you. Like it's just, so it became part of our culture. So we just keep it that friendly culture, and all that too, as well as like that's how. Obviously, I add my own energy twist to it, but like that's how Richie did it. Richie was never the, like I'm the boss. Everybody's gonna listen to me. He always says something that's we are all students on the mat and we are all teachers.
Yeah.
Right. And this is big if you say it. And Richie repeats himself a lot. I love this guy. Repeats his jokes, but he used to say that a lot. Like maybe once every class, he says, "We are all what?" And everybody's students, and we are all what? Teachers. Like while he's demonstrating. So it builds that, like that I don't want to say camaraderie, but it is like it's just more that like it puts that energy, right? Like it puts that like, okay, we're all part of this.
Right.
Yeah. It's there's no higher power, but there's someone. I always tell people like, and everybody knows this saying is not mine. It's like the only difference between black belt and a white belt. A black belt is never stopped, right? We just kept going. We just kept training until we got the black belt, and then now we're training even more, right? Like it doesn't stop, right? So there's no different really like between someone walking first day and me. It's just I have this experience and I'm gonna share it with you,
Right.
right? Like that's it. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a higher power, right? Like it's not. It shouldn't be that way. Why would you want to bow to me?
Yeah.
If you think that this is the place that you want to respect and you want to bow to, I do that. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. We teach it to kids just for more. We tell them to bow to the mat. We don't bow to each other. We just bow to the mat, and we stand at the end. We do the lineup, and we stand them by rank and this, but for kids only. For
Right.
adults,
Yeah. I think for kids, it's good to
It's important.
to instill that kind of
yeah,
structure and
exactly,
discipline, right?
yeah,
And respect, really.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Just teaching them respect and like teaching them, like all these nice, like the beautiful things that comes from martial arts in general, right? Like like which is respect, right? It's all about respect, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, with adults we don't do that.
Nice. Yeah. So, with all because you have like now what 4 different black belts, 5, something like that, right?
Here?
No, I mean you.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You have like
I was like, here? No, I don't have it on me. I have, with the jiu-jitsu, I have 5, jiu-jitsu number 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But it was the hardest belt, and it's the only belt that,
so what
the only belt that I'm.
So if somebody asks you what black belt, what martial art, I guess the question really is, what do you identify with the most out of all the
Jiu-jitsu.
The jiu-jitsu? Yeah. So you would probably say I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt first,
Yeah.
before saying all the other
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is my latest one, obviously, and it's the hardest one, and the one that I worked really hard for. Maybe because I was older, because I started when I was 32,
Okay.
right? But it's 33 actually, yeah. So, but it's. Yeah, it's the only belt that I felt. It's not that I didn't feel that I earned the other ones, but this one again, because I'm maybe more aware and I know myself. Like I was in my 30s when I first started, right? So you kind of know yourself better than when you're a teenager or like younger than that when you're a kid, right? So I definitely identify with my jiu-jitsu black belt other than any other belts. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. All the others are all striking, but yeah, this is my jiu-jitsu is my. I think if I found jiu-jitsu earlier, I probably wouldn't have bothered with others. That's how much I love jiu-jitsu.
Cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
I do love Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I do love it, but I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not considered Muay Thai. I'm not ranked. I
There's
trained
no
a lot.
rank- there's
There's
no
no
rank,
exactly.
right?
There's no ranking. I trained a lot and I fought a lot in Muay Thai, but it's not. Yeah, so it's there's no ranking in Muay Thai. So, but probably I would have done Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. Maybe if I go back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's an interesting perspective as well. Because Muay Thai has no ranking, Jiu-Jitsu has ranking. And some people are saying, why do we even have a belt system in Jiu-Jitsu? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the belt system is. I don't know. Actually, I've never thought about why are we having belt system in Jiu-Jitsu. I think it's just because again I came from traditional martial arts, and then I think it's good. It's motivational.
But were you less
It's good
motivated?
for structure.
But were you less motivated when you were training Muay Thai because there were no ranks?
No, but I was fighting, and you fight by the number of fights you have, right? To a certain point, right? Like you get paired by the number of fights you have. With Jiu-Jitsu is different because you can, do a tournament every weekend.
Right.
You can't fight I mean, in Thailand you can. In Thailand you can, but if you want to stay safe and be able to talk.
You don't want to be handicapped by the time
Yeah,
you're 20.
exactly, right? Like you don't want to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think what kept me motivated with Muay Thai is because I had to travel for Muay Thai and do it, and it's like because I used to go to Thailand and do it and come back. So maybe that's just kept me motivated, and I don't know. I just felt kept me. It's the discipline in Muay Thai, the spirituality. That's what kept me motivated in Muay Thai,
Cool.
and the people, because I did it in Thailand. I didn't do anywhere else.
Straight
And
from the source.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, but for Jiu-Jitsu, I won't lie, at a few points of my Jiu-Jitsu career, I was motivated by the belt. When I get a new belt, I feel like a switch in my understanding, whether I'm forcing it on myself or I just oh, okay, kind of wake up. So from my personal experience, it's not that I was motivated by the belt. Like, it's like, oh, I want to go get my belt, right? But it took me 13 years to get my black belt. But like at some few belts that I went through, it's not that I lost the motivation, but I felt a boost when I got what I get.
Yeah.
It probably happened to you when you just got your brown belt.
Yes.
You were like,
because
there's a boost.
because I was gonna say because I get it too.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was a purple belt for like 9 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Due to injuries, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And then I signed up to compete at the ADCC Vancouver. Right. And then the week before, my coach Lucas Wilhelm is like, "Hey, here's your brown belt." And I was like, oh damn! I felt like I wanted to go in as a purple belt.
Yeah.
So I have like nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
right?
But then it gives you.
But then it gives me a purpose. I'm like, oh, now I actually got to represent my brown belt, and I have to fight harder and train harder. And so that changed my mindset completely.
Yeah.
So I do see the merit to that as well.
I like that it's not so many belts too, right? Like it's not. You don't have to. It takes long, and there are not so many belts. So it's there's stripes. I didn't do stripes until later in my blue belt. Waiting for that bike to go. I didn't do stripes until later in my blue belt, and then Richie at the time was not with any affiliation, and then he joined PTT and he had to follow the system, the Gracie's or PTT system, which they follow the Gracie system. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna do stripes. So I think I was a year and a half or 2 years in my blue belt. And he's like, okay, Meego, you've been 2 years in a blue belt. I'll just give you 2 stripes. Yeah. And my blue belt was 3 years and 8 months, I think. Like it was a long blue belt, and I'm there. Like I'm a coach in the gym. I was like a personal trainer at the gym, and I do cover classes every now and then for Richie. But at the time, probably I'm like, come on, Richie, like move me a little bit faster. But now I appreciate it. I appreciate that my jiu-jitsu journey took the length that it did, although I never stopped. Even we're not gonna say that on camera, but even during the pandemic, I was still training, and a lot of people were. My gym was not open. I had people in my garage. We had a bubble of like 2 black belts and a purple belt, and myself as a brown belt, and we were training. Like they come twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes, to my garage, and I have mats, and we just train.
Yeah.
So I didn't stop. So even with that, it took me 13 years to get my black belt.
Yeah.
Right. My brown belt was, I think it was close to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not.
No. Yeah, you didn't stop.
I only stopped when I was a purple belt. I think a purple belt, and we just had our kid, and I stopped maybe for 3-4 weeks. That's the longest I stopped. I had injuries here and there, but I didn't really stop for long.
Right.
Like I never had
Yeah.
more than a month, maybe.
Yeah. So you got your black belt. How long ago now?
April last year. So
Nice. So a year and a half.
year and a half-ish. Yes.
Yeah. So as a newer black belt, right? How do you? Because that's pretty much the last belt, right? We're not gonna get a core belt.
No,
right?
especially when we're older. Yeah.
Especially when we're not Brazilian. No.
Yeah.
Right. So black belt is.
I mean, I look Brazilian, so you never know.
That's why the guy was so surprised. That
Yeah. It's like, but you look Brazilian.
Yeah. So, how are you? Do you find that it changes your mentality now that there's not another belt to pursue?
No, it's different actually. I remember I was starting getting, what's the word? When I was a brown belt, even when I opened the school, I started not losing motivation. I was still. I mean, obviously, I opened a school when I was.
It better be even more.
I better be motivated. But I was like, I just didn't know what's happening, kind of, right? Like I wasn't sure when am I gonna get my black belt, Like I was like, I don't know. Maybe that was in the back of my head, kind of pissing me off, or like kind of like discouraging me, maybe. But at the same time, like, am I ready? Like Richie's not giving me a black belt. It's like, does that mean I'm not ready? Does he think I'm not ready? Like, what do I do to be ready? Anyway, then when it happened, something flipped, like something switched in my head that told my inner self is to get my shit together and start acting like a black belt. And that's not when it comes to competitive, because I chose more of the, like, I do like to compete every now and then, but I chose the coaching route. Since I turned, I competed twice or 3 times in brown belt, but yeah, like I competed all other belts. But I chose I mean, obviously I have a school, so it's just no time for competing, and I'm the only coach for adults. So, but it did flip something in my head that it actually made me, every now and then I'm like, oh, how did I come up with that answer? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know where it's coming from. It's weird. And then made me more eager to research, made me more eager to go train with other people, made me more eager to open up my mind a little bit more, right? Like, it's weird. Like, it's not, it definitely felt like when people say, oh, it just started now, it definitely felt that way. Like, oh, okay, it just started. Because I think you feel the responsibility, especially having a school. You feel the responsibility, like one of your students will ask you a question, you have to know the answer. you feel the responsibility. You don't have to, but you feel the responsibility that you have to have an answer, right? So you kind of like have to keep yourself up to date. So the challenge is now is as a coach is keeping myself knowledgeable and up to date and knowing how to explain more than anything else, right? So that's my motivation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I always have new people. I have people getting better. It's like, okay, now I'm gonna have to keep up with these guys, like little kids, right? Like it's like, oh, there's like, like 25-year-old
Been training 10
blue,
years. Oh my
yeah,
God.
blue belt. I just gave them the blue belt. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have to now keep up with you, right? Like it's hard, like being older, right? But
Yeah, I recently rode with some of the 14, 15-year-olds that's been training for like forever. Oh my God, they're so good. It's like
Yeah.
I'm like, if I don't use my man strength, then I can't hang.
no, yeah. This like, I mean,
If it's
they're
technique
technically
for,
a black
yeah,
belt.
if it's technique for technique,
Yeah,
they
they're
run
technically
circles
a
around
black
me.
belt. Yeah, like yeah. There's the two brothers from Vernon. I just rolled with Winter,
Winter, yeah.
and
Yeah, those
he's
guys. The Burge?
the Birch brothers.
The
Yeah,
Burge, yeah,
and
those guys.
he's, I won't lie, he tapped me. He got
They have
a
man,
choke on me.
they have man
It's
strength now too,
one of
right?
my, oh
They're
yeah,
getting-
he's
they're
getting
getting
so
big, yeah.
strong,
Yeah.
and he got a collar choke on me, and and collar choke is my thing, and he's like, oh fuck, how did he get that on me? Like I thought I could get out of it, but I couldn't. It was so tight. I tapped. I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, I mean, hey, like, but there's no ego. Like hey, like I'll tap. It's fine. Like you're only as good as how bad your training partner makes you look, right? Like, because
That's a
you're gonna
good way
get
to
better.
look at it, yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna get
yeah.
better, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you come here, that goes back to the point that if I come here and I have all my students and I just tap everybody out, like I'm not gonna get better, right? Like I have to have a challenge, and I do have like some white belts here. They give me challenge, like they give me good challenge because they're focusing only on the regard. So I was like, damn, I can't pass your guard, right? Like it's like, and I'm a black belt, and you're a white belt. I've been doing it for a year. And I was like, can't pass your guard. I have to really like, like I can just easily pass like a white belt,
Yeah, but that's just a testament of your coaching, right?
You know what? These are one of these moments are my proud moments. Like, okay, you've been training with me from day one, and your guard is that good. I love it. You know what I mean? That's I don't call it out, but in me it's like, okay, I'm like a proud papa.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And I think because we're similar in age, right? So I think especially with like we're in our mid 40s, right? So I think we have to really switch our
Yeah.
mentality as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah.
So as a coach, because you mentioned that you have to stay motivated by keeping up with the latest meta, and evolving your game, keeping an open mind and stuff, right? So how do you go about doing that? How do you train your mind?
I do a lot of research and I open my mind to stuff. Like, so I have guys and girls coming from different schools, right? So I have someone that's, like used to be a 10th planet guy, right? And our generation, we grew up, would be like, 10th planet, right? All the Goga Platas and whatever, right? Like it didn't
You
work.
have to be flexible or whatever, right?
Yeah, but I have to open my mind to it because he asked me questions that it's like, oh, I'm working on my Goga Plata and I dabbled with it when I was, because I have flexibility and I coming from Taekwondo background, like my legs are very flexible and like I use my legs a lot until today. But I'm not at the point that I have answers, like 10th planet level answers, black belt. So, but I have to open my mind. I'm like, and a few times I'm talking to him, I'm like, I have to look it up because I'm not. So I go look up 10th planet stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Like it's not. It doesn't mean that it's different style. That means it doesn't work here. So that's what I mean to like open my mind. I do privates with local black belts, right? Like there's no ego. We both own schools. I'll hire do private. I'll pay you, you'll give me your knowledge. I you know, like I trust that you're good at this, and I'm not. I'm like, and I'm gonna go to like I did privates with Matt Kwan because I know he's the leg locker, and I'm like, Matt, my leg lock game is shit, and I need to start understanding it. So I needed to, and I'll keep doing this stuff with him, and he's a great coach, he's a great teacher, and yeah, like you have to be open-minded, right, to that. I go and roll with other people. I go open mats to the different gyms.
Yeah,
There's
but I
no-
also hear that the most important thing is actually to have no ego, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The
that is the
ego is
most
not
important
about,
thing I
yeah,
heard. Yeah.
exactly. The ego is not about, oh, like, I'm gonna go to the mat, and we all have ego on the mat. That's why we escape attacks or escape submissions. If you don't have ego, you're not gonna
tap
escape. You're
into
gonna tap
everything, yeah.
everybody, right? So this is not true, right? Like we're doing martial arts because we have a little bit of ego because we want to feel, you know, like that
But
satisfaction.
we don't want the wrong type of ego from
Exactly.
preventing you from progressing and getting
Exactly,
better, right? Yeah.
exactly. So like I go to roll every now and then to their open mat and roll with their white belts and black belts, and like I don't care if they tap me and or not. I'm not gonna go there kill them if they're like lower level than me. Like I'm not gonna go there to prove anything. I'll go there to just, you know, like open my, you know, like open everything and just like open my mind to new. I just want to see what people do other than my being in my bubble, right?
Yeah.
So just like, yeah, just that's what I do. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been back to Iraq since you left?
No.
No?
No, not yet.
Can you go back? Because I know
Yeah,
that's
now-
the part you didn't want to talk about, right? But
Yeah, now I think we can, maybe. I think we have to check before, but I think we can.
you can just go
There
in
is a
for
plan.
Canadian
Yeah,
passport,
there's a
whatever, right?
plan. I have, I've been in contact with the Iraqi Jiu-Jitsu community there, which is very small. When I got my black belt, we have a group on WhatsApp. One of the because they have a national Iraqi team. Most of them they don't even live in Iraq. And in the Middle East and Europe, they have the worlds is different. It's not IBJJF. It's some other organization, and they do it by country.
Okay.
So you go represent your country. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I was gonna go represent Iraq as a black belt in China Worlds. That was last year, I think. Yeah, that was last year, August last year. But they didn't put me on the roster because of my age. They wanted someone younger. So I was like, sure, I understand. It's fine. It's okay. Although there's masters, but they didn't want it. So anyway, but when one of the brown belts just got his black belt, an Iraqi guy as well, and then we were doing the count, and then discovered that one of 7 Iraqi black belts only. So that was a big proud moment for me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, there's only 7 black
7?
belts
Oh,
in Iraq,
wow.
and I'm one of them. It's like
Yeah.
that's big, right?
Yeah.
So from that, I started talking to gym owners there. Like maybe the community is still really small, and most of there's no black belt in Iraq actually,
So
right?
all 7 of them are they
Some of
got
them
it
are all over the
somewhere
place.
else, right?
Yeah, all over the place. Some of them they go back and forth. There's a few train with Hinza Gracie Turkey, Sweden. There's in the States, a bunch of them. Yeah, so I think there's one in Australia, I think, and then nobody in Canada, I guess, that I know of. We did research. We looked for people, and
Right.
yeah, we couldn't find anybody other than the 7 of us. There's one in UK. He's one of the oldest black belts. So anyway, so that opened up the talks about me going there, maybe do seminars and whatever. And I really just want to do it for the community. And it's not like it's something I want to make money from. I don't think I'm should expecting anything like that. But it's kind of like for me, it's kind of it's not scary, but it's kind of weird, and I'm hesitant of what am I gonna find, or what am I gonna see, or how am I gonna see the country that I left 8 years ago. Would it be 28? Yeah, 92.
That was a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'd never been, right? So how is it going to be? What is it going to look like? People, right? Like I'm so I'm in touch with it, but I'm not really in touch with it, right? Like it's different when you're
I
looking at it from outside
Yeah.
as an outsider than being there.
Yeah.
My sister went, my niece went, and my niece lived there actually for a year and then came back, and they loved it. But yeah, I don't know what to expect. So it's kind of like a little bit gray area. But like the more I get to know those guys, the jiu-jitsu people, the more I get excited. It's like okay, there's something I need to go.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm sure it will happen eventually.
I think it will. I think it will happen sooner than later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does Canada feel like home now, or do you still feel like you're a foreigner in
No,
in
it's
a different
definitely home.
country? Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice,
especially
man.
after I kind of lost the accent.
A.
Yeah, the other day I was telling my daughter. I mean, my wife is Canadian, Jamie. See, here's another one.
I know.
They're looking for you.
And that's an
Oh,
ambulance. That's an ambulance now.
No, not you.
The cop probably just shot somebody.
Yeah, my wife's Canadian, Jamie, and she's my business partner as well. So this is home for her, especially North Van. She was born in North Van.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's another reason why this became home. Probably is part of it, but it's. I knew when I came here, I'm like, no, this is gonna be home. I just felt something. Felt some connection with especially Vancouver. I felt some connection with the ocean, the mountain, and white peaks and beach at the same time. You know, it's kind of like that. It's very romanticized when you live in the hustle and bustle and how hard it is and how expensive it is and how it's hard. You'd be like, yeah, a lot of people choose not to live it, but I don't know. I don't think I can go anywhere else to call home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So when did you start thinking about opening an academy?
Ooh, Hero was supposed to be a strength and conditioning gym.
Oh.
Only. That's my background.
Right.
And I was gonna be doing jiu-jitsu. I was gonna buy mats and just do jiu-jitsu just for fun, every now and then. And it was gonna be opening in Vancouver, in Mount Pleasant. We were negotiating on a spot, and that was the idea came 5 years ago. And then just before the pandemic, we were negotiating a spot in Mount Pleasant, and we were supposed to finish negotiating and sign lease in March 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
2020.
That's where
That's when the
Yes.
shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Mexico. We came back on March 15th, and March 16th was the lockdown.
Right.
And then everything just, like you said, the shit hit the fan. We lived in Chinatown at the time, and we moved away, and we moved to, it was just getting too rough around us, and so we moved to Jamie's grandpa's place, because he's in a home. He was in a home at the time. And then, and then there I was like, okay, I need to find something. So I'm just gonna focus on Hero now and do personal training, whoever wants to train with me. So he had a 2-door garage. I turned the garage to a gym, and I put Hero sign in there and put mats, and one side lifting and one side mats, and started there from a garage, and then we're always gonna come back to North Van because, like I said, Jamie is from North Van.
Right.
So when we came to North Van, and we started to be like, okay, let's look in North Van, and we found this place.
Nice.
Then-
Dude, it's a prime location, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. We're paying prime money for it too. Yeah. Getting something in the middle of, like close to the C bus, and with all these windows, it's expensive, but we want to take away, like, we wanted to get away from that dingy basement, dark, kind of like, like club kind of thing, right? Like we want it to be like, oh no, more beautiful. Everything is black. That's our branding. But at the same time, it's very friendly, right? And it doesn't smell. And it's windows,
Yeah,
and
nice
it's
and
clean,
open,
and
lots
nice
of
and open.
lighting,
Exactly, like people can stand there and watch us rolling, right? Like
just, yeah, right
yeah,
now
here you go.
somebody's looking in.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
people
yeah,
looking in.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
And yeah, and it's like it's a big part of
Yeah.
our
And it is a beautiful facility, by the way.
Thank you,
Right,
thank
because
you.
the first time I came to visit you, I was like, "This is not a jiu-jitsu gym.
yeah.
Where's the smell?
Yeah, where's the smell? Yeah,
Where's the
exactly.
smell?
Yeah.
Oh, so much lighting. What the hell?
Yeah. It needs to be darker than this. Yeah, I need to smell the mats and the yeah. But yeah, and I mean that was our culture we're building is the friendly, clean, and yeah,
Yeah, and professional.
and
because,
professional.
yeah, from
Exactly,
what I- yeah.
and professional. Exactly. But yeah, but at the same time, very
Very community driven at the same time,
community-driven.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I think there cannot be one without the other.
No.
You know? Yeah.
No.
It,
Yeah.
it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, like when you say when by professional doesn't mean that like we're all like, okay, sir, let's go this, right? Like it's not. It's perfect. We give high quality coaching and very very friendly vibes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So what's the what's next for you and for Hero Academy?
What's next for me?
Yeah, what's there? Let's say I mean, this is like what?
Survive the
It's
second
October.
year.
It's October right now, right?
Yes.
October right now in 2023. So
Yeah.
what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, for now because we're just stepping out of our second year, or like so now we're gonna be 2 years in this as Hero Academy in end of February, right? March 1st.
Nice.
So for us now, it's like it's a business, so we need to sustain that business we need to pass that second year mark, get, I want to say get as many people as you want, but I want to get people that want to train here, right? Like, and build a community that like I want to be part of, right? Like it's not just build a community that is fun, blah blah blah, whatever it is. It's just like I want to be part of it, so I want to stay part of it, right? Like I don't want to lose interest, so that will reflect on the whole community, right? Like so if you're going to a gym and you like it, or you're going to whatever anywhere, right? If you have a bunch of friends and you like everybody, right? Everybody will know that you like them, right? So they'll like you back, kind of thing, right? Like so, it's just how you reflect it. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking just to build community, be a little bit more involved. We're doing a lot of things. We're doing a bunch of seminars. We were the first one to actually initiate people booked after us, but they did the seminar before us. But we initiated the first women's only seminar, jiu-jitsu seminar, when we brought Brianna St. Marie.
Yeah.
We were the first one to do it.
Yeah.
And we want to be more active in that community. A lot of gyms, when we booked it and we started talking about it, they went and booked other women, which is great. I'm not taking anything away from them. It's great. This is where we want to start it. We need to put certain things like on the map, right? Like it's just like you need to support women in sport.
Yeah, you put the
need to
wheels in
support-
motion, right?
Exactly,
Awesome.
right? Like I don't want to be like I'm the one who started it, but I am the one. But
Let's set the record straight, guys.
But I'm glad that people start doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Finally, like hopefully slowly we're a little bit active on the community again. Hopefully, women in sport professional jiu-jitsu practitioners will get paid as men. Like just like men. Like I don't know why they still get paid half what men. Like it's like someone likes
They're
Brianna.
just as exciting, if not more exciting to watch.
To be honest, they're more exciting. Like seriously, I like watching because there's that tenacity, and the levels are really close too, right? Like with men, and almost the levels are sometimes like, really, why are they fighting? Because like it's just one-sided, right? But with women, it's like the levels are really close, and there are a lot of women coming, and like anything else in life, like that's when women come in, they want to prove themselves, right? Sadly, because it's a man's world, right? So now it's kind of switching. So women are just putting a little bit more effort, right? Like to actually showcase what they can do. So they end up being seriously more enjoyable than watching men, even in MMA.
Yeah.
I prefer sometimes watching women fighting more than men. So we're focusing on that. We have a few charities coming soon. We're doing a seminar for weight cutting.
Nice.
And that's a big thing in the sport too, and all martial arts, right? Like all combat sports.
Yeah.
Jamie and I, we both have really good background in that. Jamie is a sport nutritionist, so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to bring people. We're creating a panel. The date haven't been set yet, but we're going to talk about weight cutting and what's the best way to cut. And we're going to do a workout and workshop and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, that is so important because
and that's going to go to a charity to one of our athletes, Leo Samarelli. He's a paraplegic athlete on a wheelchair, and he was the first. He was definitely the first athlete in BC to compete against full-bodied in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, and he won bronze. He did AVA and he won bronze. No legs, belly down, nothing. Like he's got legs, but he doesn't move. Like he doesn't even have core. But he's a super athlete. He was a boxer before his accident, and he's an Olympian now. But yeah, when he took jiu-jitsu,
that is pretty amazing, actually.
yeah. So stuff like that, right? Like selfishly, it makes me feel good because I'm doing something of value, and at the same time, when I have someone like Leo coming to me and he's got a tear in his eye and he's like, Meego, this is the first time since my accident I do something. No, what did he say? No, he said, when I do jiu-jitsu, I don't even think that I don't have legs. And I'm like, this is big. Like, this is, you saying this, it's just like, it validate everything that I've been doing in jiu-jitsu and in this school, right? Like, it's just, that's all I want to hear. I'm done. I'm good, right? Like, we have another, we do have adaptive program, but we're very limited on how many people we can take. We have John, he's a visually impaired athlete. He'll probably be competing soon against full-bodied, able-bodied. And he's a monster.
Wow.
Watch out for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing stuff like that. We're, like I said, we're going to be doing a bunch of exciting seminars and
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, so much respect for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, so because the Canadian government doesn't make it easy for small businesses, you know, to say the very least.
No,
so
they don't.
So that is why I encourage everybody to come check you guys out.
Thank you.
It's again, beautiful facility, top level instructions, and why wouldn't you want to come and hang out with this guy?
I talk a lot.
I know. As you can see from this thing. So I think we're gonna wrap up the podcast. Yeah, because if we keep on going, we're gonna be here all day.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a class starting pretty soon. So So make sure to find us on Spotify or anywhere else you listen to your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. And we'll see you next time. Awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wonder how long that was. It felt like a little bit over an hour, but
Yeah, probably.
we'll see.
Like I said, I can talk.